So at the end of January, it was hot as, and damp. So I was predicting that hot trend would stay, and I was guessing that the dampness would eventually dissipate. I wonder how that's gone. Welcome to February, folks. G'day, folks. Andy here from McDowell Manor. Some extremely hot and stressed quails. So it's the 1st of February today, and believe it or not, I called it right. They've announced a heat wave, and our Met Bureau has put out warnings. Going to be 36 and above for the next few days, and the birds don't like it. So what I'm going to do is put some water in plastic bottles. I'll shove them in the freezer, and at least then they'll have ice that they can cuddle up with to try and get a bit cooler. It's a bloody shocker, I tell you. Oh. The worst too is the humidity. So yesterday morning it was at 6:30 it was 94% humidity, and that really makes it feel hot. And it doesn't help that we've got no breeze hardly whatsoever. So yeah, it's stinking. Most of the time I'm just staying inside in the aircon. So it's the 3rd today, and you can see it's stinking hot. Not even worth going outside, to be honest with you. We had to resort to, that's a tree fern under there. We've had to cover that. The bigger one, and I'll just go down to a different one. That's a volunteer. He'll survive. You can see one leaf's burnt witless, but it's big enough and ugly enough and strong enough that it'll get through, whereas this little fella, he's just going to cook. I've been running outside, giving the quails blocks of ice. I throw them in their water, try and keep them cool. They're panting, a bit warm. This is what I was predicting all those months ago. What you're looking at there is a Malay gold dwarf coconut palm. Now it's never really done any good ever since I put it here. So I'm going to dig it up and move it into one of the big grow bags. It's 4:30 in the afternoon. I waited till it cooled down a bit, and I'll dig him out and we'll have a look at him when I move him to his new home, eh? There he is out. Certainly not what you'd call a thriving root mass, is it? So hopefully he'll buck back up. Bit worried. And there he is in his new home, right near the aquaponics bed and the quails. So that way he gets seen every day and he'll be watered when he needs to be. Certainly got a lot better soil now than he had out the front, so hopefully we'll see a market improvement in your steaks, matey. Oh. So it's 5 o'clock, give or take. And I've mowed one side, going to go around the back and mow the other side. Yeah, so I do things in the afternoon. A lot of my friends who are much earlier risers than me, they'll get up and do them in the morning. But I've got to tell you, by 9 or 10 o'clock here, 9 o'clock, it's just too bloody hot to do anything. Here's a little known fact. When it gets, oh look at Big Buffy. When it gets over about 35 degrees, chickens go off the lay. It's just too hot for them to be laying. Go figure. Normally we'd do all our eating outside in the barbecue area, but as you can see, it's still 36 degrees out there, and it's way too hot. So we're in the aircon inside. Those little mini quail, garlic and ginger quail sausage rolls. Doesn't it look spectacular? Well, to be fair now, there is a fair few people coming. So there's 3 different families and about 5 grandkids, and you know, so it is a big number of people. 13th today, and it's another stinker. Yep, so here's our afternoon storm today. Often get afternoon storms when it's hot in summer. certainly getting a fair bit of water. Oh, there you go. Bit of thunder. It's actually blowing. I presume you can see the angle. It's coming down on about a 45-degree angle, so she's quite damp out there. As you can see, I can't even hardly see the next hill. You can see that water running down the gutter there. Now that same sort of volume used to belt right across the centre of my front yard here until I put that vetiver and a couple of swales in. So it certainly does its job, doesn't it? And we're just starting to see our lake form. That's where it forms down there. I've really got to do something about that drainage. You can see it forms a little bit down there. That's where it, over this side, that is where it gets quite deep. You can see the chickens hiding, well maybe you can, they're hiding under their house. Yeah, and not long later, the lake's become a little bit bigger. No, mind you, it's not really an issue out there. It eventually drains away. There is drainage under there. I think I probably crushed it when I put this bed on top of it. Or the roots of those trees have gotten into it, one or the other. Sometime we'll deal with that, but not in the middle of summer. Thanks very much. And probably half an hour, not even, later, you can see it has all dried out, which is great. I mean, not dried out, but the water puddles are gone. That's great. So I'll take the nice nitrogen fix from the lovely fresh rain. Cooled it bloody down a bit too, I've got to say. So you can see the sprinkler system's running. It's still pretty warm. It's supposed to come in wet this week, which would be interesting. I always welcome that. It cools it down for one thing. We could use the water. That sprinkler's all running off my rainwater tanks. Now I thought I'd do, since it's the 19th, I thought I'd do what's going okay in the garden this month. So as you can see, we've got a few ruby grapefruits on. There's a couple around, I don't know if you can see them. There's a couple around on the other side. A few up the top there. Rossie's picked the limes. There's still the odd little one on. Got only about 5 or 6, but there's still a few more there, you can see. Lemonade, it is the absolute star performer. Gee, it does well. So behind the pride and joy, the lemonade, is a lemon. It's got a couple on too, you can see down there. It's not anywhere near as prolific as a lemonade, but still it's getting to the size now where it's producing a few. The fig continues to do nothing. If it's up to me, I'd dig it out, fair dinkum. Didn't do very well with the peaches, but you would have saw that probably last month or the month before. Oddly enough, I seem to have avocados springing up all over the place. I couldn't grow them for love or money. And now every time a seed goes near soil, it pops up. What's doing really well is that bloody dragon fruit. Holy cow, it's going gangbusters. Trialling a net style hoop house to try and see if I can grow full-size tomatoes instead of my normal cherries. Did really well early in the month, but tomato time's probably almost done, so I'll be pulling these ones out soon, just in time for those other ones. Continue to have shallots. The new batch of tomatoes you can see coming on. I've got some Kangkong seeds from Uncle Marky. That's what that is. The fish are doing very well. I might start and knock a couple of the biggest ones and smoke them up pretty soon. That little coconut palm, dwarf Malay gold, it's surviving, it hasn't died. It's not happy, but hopefully it'll come back. That thing beside it, there's a guava dew. Now I got that as a seed from another garden visit in Brisbane Local Food. I do still have the odd finger lime. Not very many, but I'll be happy, honestly, if I even get one. There's a few lilies, but I think they've died. If I can get that one, I'll be happy. At least it's come back. It was looking bloody terrible. So he's come back, which is great. Still have an ample supply of greens. The thing that was doing really quite well, but looks terrible now, is the New Zealand spinach, whose real name has just completely slipped my mind for no apparent reason. I've got coffee beans on. In fact, I'm hoping I might actually get to pick a few. So I'll come around and get the darker ones after I stop videoing. A lot of this stuff on the north side, well of course the curry leaf, which I do use, is gone out of control, but everything else is looking pretty ratty. Now I'm thinking that's probably the heat. Like, look at this, these are really struggling. That one got attacked by something or other. Seems to be fighting back, which is great. Now oh, that's a peanut butter bush. So if I can get that to work, I'll be very happy. And in a future episode, I'll do a taste run on the berries for you. Now I've had them before and I really like them, but there's a trick to know when to eat them. Beside that, as you can see, is pumpkin, and I think for probably one of the rare few times we're actually starting to get a few pumpkins, which is wonderful. Now that's thanks to my Ozzie, who's gone round and diligently fertilised, pollinated them. God bless her cotton socks. So she's done very well with that. You can see the beans are starting to come back. That's more of that rambling pumpkin vine. That's a bush basil. Oh, see, that's what normally happens, is they just die off like that, unless they're fertilised. We do have a few passion fruit coming on. I don't know if you can see that. Not a lot yet, but there is a few, which is good. There's more shallots over this side. I was going to see if I could find a few more pumpkins, but they tend to hide away. And of course, when you want to talk about it, you can never bloody find them, can you? Not to worry, it'll be there somewhere. Lemongrass is doing well. There's another passion fruit there. Remember I said about the avocado, that's doing alright. And this is a choco for the most part. It's doing average, hasn't produced very well. Pretty soon, not so much of that bucket. I'm going to have another harvest through the sweet potatoes, see if I've got anything there. So that's what's happening. Not a lot, but you know, I don't expect a lot to happen. That's a Japoti Carver, still way too young to fruit, I reckon. Probably another 7 or 8 years before that does anything. There's another pumpkin up in the back there. So yeah, things slow down like I knew they would in summer. That's a tromboncino, which is actually a zucchini. We do really well with that, so I'm very happy that that one took. Hopefully that'll continue on and produce some good gear for me. Yeah, we knew it was going to slow down. That's our normal summer run. It's just too bloody hot for everything. That's why the south side's doing all right. It's getting sun, but it's not stinking hot. We're the opposite, remember, to the northern hemisphere. But the north side's just blasted with sun and it's way too hot for much to do any good. Warrigal greens, that's the proper name. I actually think it's sun. I've noticed before, see, it was quite covered here, but it's obviously not covered on the fence there. Now, like I say, that was booming, and then all of a sudden it wasn't. So I'm glad I've got some down where it's more sheltered. Hopefully that'll get through, because it's doing very, very well ordinarily. A bit of a grass out the front continues to just go nuts in summer. So I continue to harvest it, and you can see how much of it gets used as mulch. It's wonderful. I might check out that vine over there. That's sweet potato. I might check that out in the bag, grow bag, where it originally came from, because that's a really good one, and I really would hopefully there'll be a few more in there now. So that noise you can hear is in fact rainbow lorikeets. Around about sunset they kick up a hell of a ruckus. They've usually got a nesting tree that they'll stay in. But as you can hear, they're spectacularly loud. Like, that tree's a long way from me. But it's just an Aussie thing, and we love our little rainbow lorikeets. Pardon my panting. Where that shovel there is, there was a couple of pawpaw trees. Well, the little ones came out real easy, of course, as they're wont to do. But there was a slightly larger one. Now you can see where the roots come out. That's where the level of the soil was. And everything below that was a big fat root that I had to bloody dig out. Holy hell. And I couldn't get the shovel in. I've gone hysterical, I think. Sorry, folks. I couldn't get the damn shovel in to lever it out, and I was worried I was going to break the handle on the shovel. So eventually I just wiggled and pulled and pulled and wiggled, and I kicked it a few times, I must confess. But it's out. See? That's what happens when we get a overcast day, having a bit of rain the night before. You can actually get a few things done because it's only 30 degrees today. Oh, Rozzie's refixed a lot of those beds too, God bless her. And she's a clever little devil, has made it so I can still get those covers off, because I need to be able to get to the irrigation system. So God bless her, she's done it. Well, we're almost at the end of February now. The prediction looked like it came true. Yes, it stayed bloody hot as hell. And I vaguely recall last month saying, I bet that bloody table doesn't get done because it's just too hot this time of year. That also came to pass. There's no way I've been able to get out here and do something like that. Quite frankly, just mowing the damn lawn has been a challenge. And on that note, I'm going to have to do it again to salve because we've had just enough water. Now, this was mowed less than a week ago. We've had just enough water and a lot of heat, and the grass bloody loves it. And there you go. Nuts. So the other thing I'm going to have to do is start and spray for lawn grubs at this time of year too, because I suspect that's what those dead patches there are. Okay, nearly forgot to make me month's prediction. What's your prediction, Andy? It's supposed to cool down next month. Given that summer came so late, I think it's not going to cool down. I think it's going to stay as hot as hell. And I'm actually tipping that it may get wet again, but we'll have to wait and see on that call. So hopefully you've enjoyed the month of February on the Australian Tiny City Farm. And hopefully you've subscribed, and I'll see you again. Probably there'll be a couple of crazy antics videos before the March videos finally put up. Right, folks, you have a good one, eh? Uru.